But that's the part you've got to get to, is picking up the phone or getting in the car. Because what do I do, or where do I go and what do I say, is pretty easy to do. We all have scripts and everything. Where am I going? Where do you go? Well, we just kind of gave you where to go. Give you a whole floor plan of where to go. We said pinpoint, know where you're going, find out if the people are selling they're selling houses, find out what it would be. You know where to go now, right? Now, wait a second, what do I say? Well, you have something that no one else is using. And you have scripts and you have all this stuff. The problem is it really isn't what do I say or where do I go. It kind of goes into the lazy and getting in the car and picking up the phone. Because no one likes that feeling of calling someone or seeing someone that doesn't know them. And then everybody gets the inadequacy feeling of, am I smart enough? Do I look good enough? Hell, do people really like me, right? You go through that stage. As you're walking up there, so I know what to say, I've practiced, I've done it, what do I say, how am I going to say it? And then you just go through all the little guy in your head, right, that starts telling you, dude, you're not good enough. You're not a good enough salesman. You're not even a salesman. Someone's going to know you're not that educated. Someone's going to know that you have to use a calculator to know your numbers. Someone's going to know that you don't know the marketplace as well as you do it, right? Is this anybody else? Right? I'm just saying things that went through my mind. All right? So you could take the most well-educated college graduate, whatever it is, you're still going to go through the same fear with the same little guy in your head telling you the same information.
Okay, so this is the problem I run into after this. Is basically where I'm at, I get, we have an in-house lender.
Excellent.
Okay, and so what I try to say is, well, do they do this? I don't know, but he says he's working on it. And I freeze up on that one because I don't want to be real honest and say, I don't want an eye doctor to have his first eye surgery on me.
Okay.
Why are you going to have your, what I mean? Like, I want to say things, but I just go, okay, you know what I mean?
Which is great. And we do have, there is a scripts on overcoming every objection. I don't know if everybody has them, you might not. My answer to that would be great. I don't want to sever the relationship you have with your in-house lender. I just want to facilitate things that he might not be able to do to help you sell this house as well as get other buyers. So your relationship's important because you know what? Loyalty to me, I wouldn't be in this business 26, 30 years if that loyalty didn't exist. So that's important. But what I want to do for you is just try to have you sell 1, 2 more houses a year, maybe 3 houses a year, and give that. But you're never going to know that unless you give me the opportunity.
Right. Okay.
Or call me if you have a problem on a deal, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's getting sick and tired of the in-house lender.
Yeah.
We just did a poll.
Really, honestly, it's not the in-house lender. All that is, you guys got to realize the smoke and mirrors. All that is I'm at an open house and you're a lender and I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
That's all that is.
Right. Or over the phone.
Yeah, that's all it is just the smoke and mirrors of reason. But the thing you've got to do is just overcome the objection, because as soon as you do that, they get frazzled. Like, well, wait a second. Everybody else had just said, okay, bye.
My broker really wants me to use that in-house lender.
Excellent. I don't want to sever the relationship you have with the in-house lender.
Yeah.
Loyalty is important to me as well as to you. I just want to help you sell another house, 2 houses a year by something that your in-house lender can't do. Just open to opportunities. And you keep hearing me say the same thing? Because it's embedded in my mind. Because it's embedded in my mind every time someone says to me, I'm a listing agent. Anybody know what I say? Because I've said the same thing for so many years. Great, I'm a listing lender. And you stop. And what do they say? Huh? What's a listing lender? Listing lender helps you sell the houses you have listings for, to create buyers, to have you double in the property. Once you get saying the same thing over and over, it becomes natural. So back to where I'm saying is what stops you is, what do I say, where do I go? That's not really the truth. Everybody knows kind of what to say and where to go. The fear is am I good enough to say the things I'm saying? Am I educated enough to talk about the CHF program? Because I don't work for the government. I don't know every intricacy, every detail about the program I'm supposed to know. Doesn't matter. You're not going to know everything. But you're not going to get any more loans by just sitting around doing nothing. You're going to have to do something different. Agreed? So we went over exactly is what it is that stops you from doing what you're doing and what works. So now the question would be, okay, so I'm going to do that. What standard do you have for yourself? And I believe that you have to hold yourself to a higher standard than anybody else can hold of you. Right? Is that the truth? You have to hold yourself to a higher standard than anybody else can hold you. I can't want your success more than you want your success. That's a huge thing for me. Because I want everybody that I talk to, whatever it might be, to be successful. But I can't want it more than you want it. And I do. And what happens is, when I'm talking about the standard, so do you settle is a great question. When you go to 1 open house, 2 open houses, and you get shot down, do you settle? I remember early in my career I was told to work weekends. I'd work every weekend. I'd go to about 30, 45 offices a day. I'd walk into every office and I'd meet about 10 to 15 agents a day. It was fun. I thought I was having a great time until one weekend. It was a Saturday. I had to pull myself to do it. Didn't want to. All my friends were actually going to the beach and having fun. I had to put a suit on and go make office calls. Whatever. I got past that part. Walked into one office, Gordon Real Estate on Lakewood Boulevard. I don't know if you remember it, Chuck. I walked in there and they said, hey, and this is 1986, which was a complete fixed rate market, right? There was no such thing as what I'm going to say. They said, hey, do you do ARMs? And I went, I got one. I actually had no idea what an ARM even was. And my same general answer to the same question that I would use every time someone would say something I didn't know, which was probably about 90% of the time, that's a great question. Let me just call someone real quick and I'll get right back to you. Now you could do that when they're asking a question about maybe credit or income or assets, but you want to know the easiest way to know that you have no idea what you're talking about is when someone asks you a question, do you do ARMs? And you go, that's a great question. Let me call somebody to find out. And they're thinking, how do you not know the products that you do? I knew I did FAHA, VAHA, and conventional loans, okay? I knew I did those. I had those. I knew I didn't know how to do them, but I knew we did them. And that squashed myself for that whole weekend. Got in my car, drove home. I talked myself right out of it because I felt I wasn't good enough to be out in the field on a Saturday if someone knew something I didn't. And then I called John or Chuck and they said it's an adjustable rate mortgage. And I went, that makes sense. Okay, what's an adjustable rate mortgage and how does it work? So I'm not saying it's easy. What I am saying is if you start settling and start just not doing the things to be successful, this is going to be a hard ride in sales. So you're going to have to expect more out of yourself. And then I guess, what do you expect out of yourself each day? This is an important thing to ask. What do you expect out of yourself each day for your business, your health, spiritual, mental, all those things that are important to you? There has to be a standard for those things each day. And that's a tough one because we all get wrapped up in whatever it is. So anybody ever feel like they're at home but they think they should be at work? Anybody ever been at work thinking they should be at home? Everybody been somewhere else where they're feeling guilty about not being at the place they are? And the tough thing of that is finding a balance within there that you're not settling and setting a standard for yourself of figuring out which part, when I'm here, I'm here, when I'm here, I'm here, when I'm here, I'm here, and when I'm here, I'm here. That's where you are at that time. When I'm at my business, I'm at my business. When I'm at home, I'm at home. And this is a tough business to do that because everything kind of coexists into each other, doesn't it?
Yep.
You're just going to have to find a standard to hold yourself to. So what standard do you hold yourself on just those things each day that you know you have to do? And also, when you see yourself, do you see yourself as a person you are now or as a person that you want to be? That's a big question. I'm talking to a lot of people, they say the same thing about where they lived, and you learn about people in recruiting or just when you get to talk to people. And they lived in, I don't know, let's say the backwoods of South Carolina. And they say things like, I never saw myself of living in South Carolina. I always saw myself as being somewhere bigger, better, and having more, right? And a lot of us feel the same way. Through where we grew up or whatever we had, you saw yourself a different way than maybe other people. Anybody else besides me, right? 2 people. That's great of you. Okay? But most of us do. What I'm asking is you're going to have to see yourself on how you want to be and not settle on who you think you are. Makes sense? Am I just talking crazy? Makes sense. So with that on what your standard is, and okay, so we give you where to go, how to do it, what is your standard, and then the next question is, you ever played Follow the Leader before? Anybody ever Follow the Leader? Great. Okay, when I got in this business, I listened to I saw Brian Tracy, and Brian Tracy stood on stage and said, you want to be successful in the industry you are, find the most successful person in your industry and do everything that person does. I thought, this is the easiest thing in the world. I just got to find the most successful person I believe is in this industry and do everything that person does. Now, as young and naive as I was, that's exactly what I did. There was a big educational curve I had to go through. Like, you probably need to know that people qualify for a loan, and you probably need to have documentation. That stuff wasn't fun. I just wanted to go meet people because that was fun. But there's another bigger picture to the whole thing. So why I'm saying that is that success leaves clues, does it not? We just left the clues of where the success is for the past 2 loans that everybody's done in this room. So in following the leader, I'm not saying as whoever would be the leader. I'm just saying follow what works. Everybody in here now knows where the loans are coming from. You know that you have to hold yourself to a higher standard. We've overcome the objections that people said. The next question is figure out what works and just follow that. Success leaves clues. And they're all there. You just have to follow them. So, and you know what, the best part about it is when success leaves clues, it's different ways because there's different levels of your success. Meaning that what you did when you first started in this business, is it different than what you're doing now? Pretty much. Because when you were here, you would have done things that now you look back on and go, boy, was that stupid. But you couldn't have got to where you are in the middle of this, right? Where you reach your goals, which would be maybe goal reaching or whatever it might be. You wouldn't got to this stage unless you went to this stage, right? And then from you wouldn't go to reaching your goal to maintaining being an achiever. That's achiever and that's maintain. Maintaining being an achiever unless you went through this. But I will tell you this, as maintaining being an achiever, you need to sometimes do things you did when you first got in the business, right? I don't know, go to open houses, talk to realtors, make office calls, meet people. Because when you were in the reaching goal status, things might have been different. And in our industry, a lot of people have went to maintaining achiever to never going back to doing what worked. They just wanted to keep their status as maintaining achiever, as a lot of people in our industry do, in every industry. They don't want to feel like I am too good to hold an open house. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hire people to go hold my open houses. Does anybody sell like you sell? No. And when you're hiring someone to do it, are they going to close like you're going to close? No. So you have to kind of pull up the big girl and big boy pants and realize that, you know what? Sometimes I got to go back to doing what works to get back to maintaining achiever. Because when you reach your goal in here, you want to get to the next level, which is obviously maintaining that achievement that you had. But you're going to have to realize every market's different. And if I just said right now that the market is completely different, where it's the lower quality of the people, it's because of the economy, whatever it would be, to get to stay here, you're going to have to go back to do what you originally did to get to reaching your goal. True? So we went through a floor plan. We went through where the fish are. We figured that out. We went through why won't you do what works. Well, we kind of overcame that. And then you're going to hold yourself to a higher standard. You're going to have to do the things that maybe you're uncomfortable, that you don't like doing, which is going to go back to the things you originally did that you have to feel like that are degrading to you now because you're in a position in your career you shouldn't have to do those things. And that's where you guys are going to stay so you can maintain achievement. Cool. Any questions about all the stuff that we went over? Any of this makes sense? I'd like to do this. We're going to do this once a month.